said, I mean, there's no one like me. Trying, deep down, you trying.
What's up? It's Paris Hart and Jason Williams coming at you live for another episode of the Love of It podcast. So today's guest that we have, you probably seen him on Twitter, on Instagram, or on his panel discussions. This dude is the most technical trader in the game. We have Anmol Singh.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking with you guys.
So first things first, being from India to where you are today, how was that? How did that influence you to be like, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what's gonna happen, and how'd you get there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always wanted to. Like, even growing up in school, you always look at like where you want to be. And for me, like, the New York City, you think about skyscrapers, you think about skyline, and obviously when you're young, you're motivated by it, right? You really want to be in the midst of where things are like hustling and bustling, when people are making stuff happen. So I was always attracted to that energy. So even growing up, like I always like looked forward to that. Okay, one day when I can make enough money, or one day if I get something done, I can finally move to New York. So that was like one of my goals since like I can't even tell you how young I was. So it's been really good. It's been really good. The fact that more than New York, it's the fact that like you made it happen is the basic thing. So it's not even New York in general. I mean, now Florida looks more interesting, right? But that being said, it's not about the fact about New York. It's just that I set a goal and I made it happen, and that does something to your confidence, I think.
Yeah, no, I bet it does, because it's not even just making the goal happen. Like, you're kind of living the like American dream a little bit. You came here, you did what you had to do. Now you're hustling and bustling all up in the trading markets, and not even just the trading markets, just money. Like your career is money, is finances. How did that kind of like journey go out for you? Was it something like you were interested like in school, or did like somebody pique your interest, like, and then how'd that go?
Yeah, so I mean, trading was never something that even occurred to my mind. Like, obviously, you're not in school thinking about becoming a stock trader. When you're in school, you want to become like an astronaut, or you want to become something like that. So trading wasn't even like in my forte. Like, I was horrible at math. Like, no joke, I was bad. Right, super bad. Like, I mean, the fact that I passed in school in math is like a huge plus, right? I mean, so thinking about numbers, the fact that I'm doing something with related to numbers is insane. That was not something that I thought about. It was in college, so I was in university. I went to London, did my college there, studied there, and then me and one of my friends, we started talking about like investing or different stocks. And at that time, I had zero knowledge at that time. And I was like, you know what, this is interesting. We started watching like some documentaries related to trading. Obviously, watch movies at that time, like Wall Street, or whatever you want to call it, different sort of movies. And I was like, wow, I would love. This looks like a glamorous industry. There's definitely money there, because I mean, there's definitely money there. People either making money through the real estate or stock market. That's kind of what I knew, right? To me, at that time, it wasn't a thing about starting an app. It was more like, real estate or stocks. That was kind of the only thing. And we started looking into it. So in college, me and my few buddies, we were like, I mean, look at our college. We have entrepreneurship society. We have, football club, soccer club. There's no like trading club. Like, what the hell? Like, let's team up. So we teamed up. We're like, why don't we start like a trading college and society in the college, where we just meet up like once every other week, and we either talk something to do with the markets. And that's kind of how knowledge built up. And as I got into it, I just got more and more curious.
So for our listeners that don't know what trading is, or are like very like new to that kind of like world, can you just kind of give them a little like intro of what it is, or like what they can expect, in that industry?
Yeah, definitely. So, we basically just gamble all our money and try to make more money. But no, I mean, in a nutshell, trading is you buy something with the hopes that it goes higher, so you can sell it at a higher price, or you can bet against it. So with the whole GameStop thing that happened recently, right? GameStop and AMC, there's like a bunch of traders, like we always do. We were shorting it. We were betting against it. And then there comes people who find some inefficiencies. Well, what if we start buying? Then they will have to buy, to cover their short position. So basically, in a nutshell, trading is you can either buy something, bet on it to go up, or you can actually sell it without owning it. As it goes down, you make money. So that's in a nutshell what trading is. You're speculating on prices, but because prices have history, you can actually learn the historical patterns that tend to repeat themselves over and over. So as traders, that's kind of our edge. We're not going to win every single time, but as long as I can win, more than I lose, or even not even win more than I lose, as long as my winners are bigger than my losers, right? It statistically makes sense. So that's kind of how trading works.
So how do you kind of weigh what moves you're going to take? Is it like, okay, I've seen a trend like this before, or is it just this seems like it's doing good, let me hop on it and kind of wage it like that?
Yeah, so we use technicals, so we use like charts, and we have certain strategies that we've tested over the last like 30 years that just tend to work, right? They just tend to repeat themselves. And then it's not even that you win a lot of times. Like majority of my trades, I probably win half of the time and I lose half of the time. So for most people, they would think, well, if you're winning half, you're losing half, you're probably not making any money. That's not true. My winners might be 3 times the size of my average loser. So by that ratio, even if I'm right 40% of the time, I will still make money. So I could lose 6 out of 10 trades and still end up profitable because the winners are 3 times the loser, right? So what we're trying to do is we have certain patterns that we've tested over like 30 years that just tend to happen over and over. So it's literally just about recognizing patterns. It's pattern recognition game, right? So we just learn how to recognize certain patterns. So when we see them again, we know when to buy, and then more importantly, when to sell it. Because that's the problem that investors have, right? You're investing in a company, like, well, when do you know when to get out, right? When do you get out when you're wrong? When you get out when you're right? Like, you don't know. So with trading, it gives you, okay, if it goes up to that level, you're going to sell it and take your profit. Or if it goes down under this level, just take your small loss and, move on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm been an on and off trader for about 3 years. There's something about those losses that really do kind of hit me, right? It's like you see those numbers go down in the red or on the negative, and it's just like, I gotta recover. What's some like mental tips that you use, or like, that you guys work on that help you kind of get in that mindset of, okay, I can take this loss, or what goes through your mind in those kind of scenarios?
Yeah, I think what you exactly just said. So when you're looking at red and green, you feel a little emotion, right? Like, I don't want to lose more, or whatever. The simple thing to do is you're risking too much in that case. Like, if you're worried about a position, you're risking more money. Like, trading is not something you should do with your income or like your savings if you're gonna need them. Trading, usually people who make it in trading are two types of people: either who already saved up enough money that, okay, they still have income coming in so they can practice on this amount of money, or people who might trade really small. So what's the position? If you lose $10, so you have to ask yourself the question: what if I lost $1,000 in a trade? Is that too much? Yeah. Okay, what about if you lost 500? Is that too much? Oh yeah. What if I lost $100? Is that too much? For some people it'll be, yeah, that's too much. So then you come down to a number that you're okay losing, so that when you put on the trade, you don't look at it, right? Because let's say you're risking $50 or $100 on a trade, you put $100, you lose that, it's not the end of the world. But on the upside, you let that $100 go to turn into maybe 300 or 400. So it's like you put in the amount that you're okay losing. I think that's the best approach, because then you're not worried about it, because you already lost the money as soon as you put the trade. So
so I never traded, and I know a lot of our listeners never traded. How would we get into trading if someone was to take that step? And to all the listeners out there, this isn't a random person hitting you up on Instagram telling you, hey, join my Forex for this much money. Like, oh, this is a real trader and someone that you guys should listen to out of your free time. Go listen to his interviews and everything that he's done, because he spits a lot of game out there and tells you how to do it. But my biggest thing is, how do you get into, what's the first step?
So I think, the first step is you have to think if this is even right for you, because trading is not for everybody. Like, I've seen certain personalities that are really good at trading. Usually those people are ex-pilots, they're either ex-doctors, and the reason I say that is because they're used to using a checklist. Okay, if this condition happens, right? Pilots do all of that. So those make for good traders. Poker players apparently make for great traders. I had one of my friends, so he was in World Series of Poker. I saw one of his videos, risking $1 million in a hand. I was like, wow, he's going to make for a great trader one day. He's actually trading now. He quit poker, right? He day trades every day, and he's really good at it because, again, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. That's the whole idea about a trader. So you first should decide if this is even something you want to get into. It's not something you can get into it like, nibble your toes on it, like a lot of those Reddit type people or Instagram people. It's not something you can kind of go half in, right? Unless you're literally following somebody, that's a different story. But if you want to learn how to do this, you can't go half in. Like you have to actually like it. Like for me, I'm curious about markets. I don't mind watching thousands of videos on this. I don't mind sitting in front of my computer all day, doing this. So you have to decide first if this is for you. And then number two thing, how you get into it. Well, you first save enough money that you're okay losing, right? Nobody should risk money that they might need for something, your child's mortgage, or you need it for your school, your rent. That's not the money you trade with. Like trading is only done from risk capital. So first you have those two things. Then the third step is open a brokerage account. You can open that anywhere, TD Ameritrade, Interactive Brokers, no matter what you want. And they all give you a demo account, simulated virtual account. So before you risk any real money, practice with paper money, get used to the hang of it. See if you even like it, right? It's like Xbox Game Pass. You're trying out a game before you even buy the game. You can play a little demo first, see if you like the game, right? So first practice on a demo account, see if you even like trading. If you don't, then great, you didn't lose any money. You can leave, right? But if you like it, then you can start trading with real money.
So it sounds like the first step to trading is saving, right? I think that I definitely should have had that kind of advice when I first started trading. I started trading. I was in undergrad, and I was using the money I would get from work. So it's like, okay, I need to get like $300 by the weekend. Let me try to use these $80 and do these little small trades. But yeah, that definitely bit me in the butt. And something that I want to ask you is, when you first started trading, what was your capital like? You don't have to get specific if you don't want to, but like, what was kind of your placement in like your financial status?
So my first was like in college, when I was like, I read a lot of books. And I called my dad. I was like, I think I finally got this thing, trading thing. I think this is what I'm gonna do. And he was like, okay, yeah, whatever. He ignored me for a while, but then I had to ask him. I was like, I need some money. So he's like, this is going to be a good lesson for him. Like he wants to gamble in, like, Indian parents are super conservative. They're like, he wants to gamble in the stock market. Oh, whatever. Okay, I'll give him the money. He'll lose it. It'll be a great lesson for him, right? He gave me $10,000, and sure enough, I lost half of it in like 2 months, right? Lost $5,000 in college in my dorm room, and I was like, okay, like before the rest of the five goes, I got to really figure out what I'm doing, and I got to get the money back, because I didn't have the courage to call, in India, I'd be like, I lost half your money. So I basically was researching online. I bought like a bunch of courses, studied a lot of stuff online, and a lot of it was like BS. A lot of it was just like marketing hype. But obviously, when you're new, you fall into it, right? You buy a lot of stuff, and you realize it wasn't the case. So then I attended like a free webinar at this place, and my partner now, Jared Wesley, he was actually trading for another different firm, and he was doing a webinar. And I was really like that guy. I was like, man, he's the only guy who's, rather than telling me how to turn 100 into a million, he's telling me all the real stuff. Like, you're gonna lose. It's gonna be super hard. I was like, that's the guy I want to learn from. And I took his course. It literally was like $4,000 something. I had 5. And then it was actually 7,000, but it was split into like a payment plan. So I had to do 4,000 into like 2 payments. So I paid first 4, and then I really crushed it in their trading program. Like, I really, really did well, right? As far as the education is concerned. And then what they do is they put me on a demo account. They said, okay, you prove yourself on a demo account. If you do really well, we'll hire you in your firm. So I crushed it in the demo account. I did really well, very disciplined manner. And then they said, all right, we're going to give you a $50,000 account. You're going to trade our money, and we're going to take 30% of whatever you make, but you get to keep 70%. So when I had no money, that was a great deal. I was like, this is great, So I traded their money and worked my way up the firm and kind of got promoted. Then they gave me 70,000, then they gave me 100,000, then 500,000. So I got to all the way to like 10 million when I was trading for them, like $10 million. And then I was taking 70%, which is a great deal. So by that time, obviously, I've made enough money back, and I decided that, okay, now I don't need to give him 30%. I've made enough money. I can go off on my own. And then now here we are.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I think prop firm trading was something that I'm also still trying to get into right now. I'm still trying to see if it's even worth going through like the demo process if I'm not even like that confident in my own like trading skills. So when would you say it was like a good moment to like then go into the demo, kind of go into that process of trying to get, up in those type of firms?
Yeah, prop firm these days, I hate to say it, it's a bit harder these days, because back then they were actual prop firms. They literally cared about you making money as a trader so that they can take that 30%. So their goal was to get as many traders as possible. Nowadays, it's like most of the prop firms these days don't really care about what you make, win or lose, because they're technically also a broker. So they just want you to push the button these days. That's the problematic area. Like back then, the fee structure, when you got promoted, when you got paid, were very easy, right, to progress up the levels. These days, it's like they make it really hard so you keep trading, but you never progress. So it's a bit tricky. Prop industry, I would say, as a newer trader, is to first prove yourself on a demo account. Because if you're not going to make money on a demo account, you're not going to make money on a real account, right? So let's get at least a few months of consistent results every month on a demo, and then you start with really small amounts of money, but real money, so you can get used to emotions. Because paper accounts, you don't get the emotion, so everything is easy. But when it's your real money, then you feel right, like that brain working. So you start on a demo, then you start putting in small amounts of money, and then you put up a path. Okay, when my account reaches this level, I'm gonna now risk X. When my account reaches this level, now I can risk a little bit more per trade, and then you work your way up. So usually the path that I give traders is about roughly 12 to 18 months by the time they can actually get to making, like a livable good amount of money.
Wow. So after you left that job and you said, okay, I'm done, I know that I'm a solid trader, I can do it for myself. What was the step after that to, okay, now this is my route. Now this is my route.
So basically that firm that, so when I was trading for them, I traded for them for like 2-3 years. And then they actually brought me on board. They're like, hey, we also, have like a trading room where a bunch of our traders trade, and you've done really well. Why don't you come and like teach some of our new hires that we've hired for the firm? Why don't you tell them, how fast you've been able to progress? So that's how I got into teaching, right? Started coaching these traders that are coming into the firm, and, eventually a few years later, that firm got bought out by another trading firm. Another prop firm bought them out. So then we had to have the discussion whether I go to the new firm or whether I use this as an opportunity to like go off and do something on my own. So I hit up my mentor, right, who now is my partner. I called him up. I'm like, hey, what's the deal? Are you going to the new firm, or like, what's your plan? He's like, no, they're not keeping me in the new firm. I'm like, oh, wow, that's weird, because you were like the best trader there. So that's pretty weird. So like, why don't we team up? And that's kind of how it started. And now the guy who taught me how to trade is my business partner. So that's great.
Dang. Wow. So I just want to say, because big ups to you, because there's a lot of people that trade just to be profitable and trade for really their bank account. But after researching you, not only have you decided to go out of your way to teach people, but you actually created a scholarship program too to help other traders. So just a big up thank you for not being one of the people that says, okay, I made it, I'm going to do it. And for the listeners out there, like if you want to learn from someone that doesn't care about the profit as much as helping people, where can people reach out to you to learn your skills from, or just to kind of be aligned with you and get into trading?
Yeah, so I think YouTube's obviously the best place if it's specific to trading. So we have a channel called Live Traders. My partner does majority of the videos, but he's done a really good job. Like if you watch, like I tell people, which is like, if you watch all the videos, you literally got everything you need to know just on YouTube, right? Like you could either get the course. The course usually is good because it breaks it down like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So that's kind of what people pay for. But to be honest, every single YouTube video, like everything you need to know is already there. So I would tell people, if trading is what you're interested in, YouTube, like watch all the videos, binge watch them. You'll get it. Like you literally get it in like 2-3 months. And then second thing, if you want to catch up with me, Instagram is usually a good place, and Twitter. So Twitter is where I post more of my thoughts and like market thoughts, or just random, things that I'm thinking, my thoughts on different things happening around the world and trading related. Instagram is more like my personal. I post usually, just my own stuff. That's where they can keep up with me. So it's Delta90. Same username on Twitter and on Instagram. It's a Delta90, DELTANINETY.
Dang.
Okay.
What do you have coming for this year? Like, is there anything, big trades, any business expansions?
Yeah, I'm actually super excited. We just launched our new website, and livetraders.com. And we also got the iOS app done, Android app done, kind of really like knocking the projects down. And something cool that I really have been developing for a while is like, I have a for all the traders. So if you're not a trader, you're listening, you'll be like, oh, this is not that exciting. But we built like a trade management software. So all my trading rules are basically already programmed in there. So all we usually do is we put the name of the stock, what price you want to buy, what price you want to sell, and we put in how much you actually want to risk on the trade, $100, $1,000. Then according to that ratio, it automatically calculates how many shares you should buy or sell. And then we have some rules that you can just select and it'll automatically exit the trade for you. You don't need to do anything else. So that's been really good that it just came out. As far as new stuff, we're working on some real estate projects. So it's like started like a vacation home company as well. So we're doing vacation home rentals. So we got like a few properties that we're just doing the furniture for. And that one's going to be exciting as well.
See, now you bring up an interesting point now. You're creating a software that kind of, at this point, it's almost like it's trading for you. Like, do you think like trading in the future is going to be more like AI oriented? Like, how do you think like that kind of space is going to like impact the trading world?
Yeah, I think it's already happened. I think I would say majority of the trading now is all algorithmic. Like I would say 90% of the active volume that's traded in the market, it's all AI, black boxes systems or program systems. So my system is not 100% automated. Like it still needs me to find the stock and the entry and exit price,
Right.
but it does the management for you. So I think it's called like being a bionic trader. So you still have your own feel and your own analysis, but then you have certain rules that you put in place. So the good thing about rules is it keeps you disciplined as a trader, right? It's not like, because when you have human emotion, you're in a trade, it's, let's say hit your target, but you're like, I think it can go maybe more. And you just end up holding it when you should have gotten out, right? Or you're in a losing position and you don't get out because maybe it'll come back up. So the automation actually is good for that because it just helps you eliminate all of that. Because you just got to take the trade and the robot will handle the rest. So there's no emotion. So that's the cool part.
Also, I have a question. You don't have to answer this. I do have a backup question in case this is like too spicy for you. But what do you think about like multi-level like market medias and those type of like different type of organizations that do the trading, like in group wise and push products and stuff like that?
Honest answer is I would say probably nobody in there makes money trading. Nobody. Yeah, I think the money is made by recruitments. The money is made recruiting people. The money is made from the owners of the company. The owners of the company is super. I know all of them too personally, so no offense. I know all of them personally, because when we were starting our firm, they wanted me to work for them as like their publisher of the trades. But the problem is like there's no record keeping, right? So like, for example, I track all of my trades, right? Every single one, they're all time stamped. And if you're part of the community, you get like every single one. And like last 5 years of results are on there on a spreadsheet, every single trade. Problem is the MLM companies, as far as I know, and from what I've heard from my subscribers, is there's no tracking. Like they're calling trades, but how do you know before you joined what the last 100 did, right? You might have lost money doing that. So that's the problem. There is money to be made, but the money is made in recruitment. Money is made in building teams in MLMs, and money is made by the organizer of the company, not necessarily from trading itself. That's just my opinion. And we've done some research because obviously I know all of them. And we've done research, and it's for trading, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can get into it for the network. MLMs are good to build like a good team, to build solid people that you can do business with, and because you all have the same mindset, you're all trying to grow. So that's the cool part about MLMs. But the trading aspect, I think it's debatable, very debatable.
So another big thing that's been popular is like trading cryptos, trying to get into NFTs. Is that a space that, I mean, some of the people that I've spoken with have said that like they're not supported by anything, is not as safe as trading in the stock world because they're not really backed by a business or backed by a company. And I've heard that they're kind of just people, like 99% of them are failing, and most people that invest in it aren't going to see the outcome that they return. Is that some of like the lines that you would expect it, or is it just?
No, I would say I have nothing against trading crypto. I think trading crypto is totally fine. I think you can trade anything you can chart on like a chart, you can trade it, whether it being coffee beans, orange juice, wheat, natural gas. Like the other day I'm trading natural gas, and the other day I was trading lithium battery prices, whatever, right? You can trade anything that has a chart. So crypto, absolutely, you can trade it. There's nothing wrong with trading crypto. And like the same exact strategies that work on stocks, on charts, same exact thing work on that. The charts are all the same. They're only made of two emotions, fear and greed. That's what we're trying to figure out on the chart. So emotions are always the same. Traders are always the same. Charts are always the same. So you can trade anything you want. Obviously, you have to know when to get out. The difference is most people, they think trading is buying something and hodling. That's not trading. That's just holding something with the hopes that one day it's going to be amazing, right? Trading is in and out. You buy something at like a 30 cents, it went up to 50 cents, you got out, came down to 30 cents, you bought it, went up to 60 cents, you got out, right? So trading is that. But if you never sell, you're not trading, you're just holding something. And that's pure gamble, just like anything else. So if I just buy a stock and hold on to it forever, that's gamble, right? So you got to be learning the ins and outs, trading, taking advantage of those swings, ups and downs, rather than just writing it down like most people have been doing right now.
Yeah, like there's definitely a lot going on that's definitely impacting the markets. How important? Because I understand that news is important, right? I get that all the time. But and I also know that there's strategy and there's just patterns. How impactful do you think world news is to like your method of trading, or like how you perceive trading?
So you know what's funny is like technicals always lead the way, and then some news happens like after, which is crazy. Like the markets, the stock market started falling in like January, right? Beginning of the year started falling, and we already got a sell signal on our system. So we already issued a sell signal. We didn't know what the news is going to be, right? And then suddenly now it went down because of the war, right? Like you don't know. And then before the pandemic, our system gave us a sell signal, and it's all on video. Before coronavirus crash, I made a video on YouTube. I said I think the market is going to crash like 30%. I don't know what the news is going to be, but it's going to crash. And then turns out now we're in lockdown and there's a pandemic. Now I didn't know that's going to be a pandemic. I didn't know there's going to be news. I had no idea. I had no idea there was going to be a war. In fact, I thought there's not going to be a war, right? But technical somehow happened, and then obviously the news, because they have to justify why the market went down, it went down because of the war. So war, news always happens later. Technicals always lead because big money obviously knows before it's going to be told on the news. So the big money sells first. So when they sell first, you can see their footprints, right? Same thing with Bitcoin. Like at 60, 70,000, we issued a sell signal. We don't know what's going to happen, but it went down. No, still, in fact, nobody knows what happened, but it went down, didn't it? Because big players are selling. So when they sell, the chart will show you some red, and you try to get out before it keeps going further.
See, now there's some conspiracy there for me a little bit. Well, not for me, but like I can see where some conspiracy there's can be like, okay, they know it's supposed to sell, so they craft a situation where they are allowed to sell. I think like, well, to a lesser extent, I do think that there's some type of like market manipulation. How like manipulated do you think like certain markets are, like golds and on oils and stuff like that?
Well, silver and gold markets are definitely manipulated. I mean, silver right now should be worth like 10x what it is worth right now. But the problem is people aren't really buying actual gold and silver. They're trading it online. So it's paper transactions. So that's what's causing the prices actually not to go. So there's always prices, because the thing is silver and gold are actually used in things to build things, right? Semiconductors or chips in your phones, they're used to build things. So that's why they're trying to suppress the price, right? Because obviously if price goes up on silver, then everything goes up. Phone becomes more expensive, your TV becomes whatever. So that's why they have to manipulate the market. It's a well-known fact. Just Google it. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, market manipulation fine. He was fined like JP Morgan was fined billions of dollars for market manipulation, yet nobody talks about that, right? So these are all things that have already happened. They've been the gold and silver market, but they pay the fine and then they get away,
Man, I'm stumped. I just heard a whole bunch of new knowledge, and it made me second guess trading, like getting into it. And I would just want to say, everyone out there, like nothing you do in life is a get rich quick scheme. Like there's professionals that you have to speak to, and there's ways you could get guidance online, whether it's talking to people, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's getting a course. Like you just have to align yourself with people that are doing it and doing it well, and really just love what you're doing, because no one's going to keep you around in the group, or no one's going to want to work with you or want to learn to you if you're an arrogant student, or if you are in it for the wrong reasons. And I just want to appreciate and just say thank you for doing what you're doing, and really helping people trade, get into trading, and helping people do it well. And it's not just another pyramid scheme like all the ones out there.
Also, there's no get rich quick schemes anywhere. It's get rich for sure, right? So rather get rich slow, but get rich for sure, rather than get rich quick and just not make it. So
Okay, yeah, that's definitely true. What's something that you look for in new traders to like take on, or what's something that new traders should look for in mentors to like follow after, that kind of
yeah, I think like first of all is an open mind. You have to have an open mind. You have to have the willingness to learn, right? And you have to have speed of implementation. So obviously, if there's something, a concept being taught, like go out and implement it, right? So like a lot of people fall into this trap where let's say they buy an online course, they take the course, then they buy a book, then they buy the book, then they buy the next course, then they're watching next podcast video on YouTube, and they're in the learning loop. But I'm like, did you implement? Did you implement? Right? Like, what you, for example, you watched a podcast, you learned something new, but yeah, did you now implement that in your life? Right. So the speed of implementation is the key, right? And suspension of disbelief, like suspend all your disbeliefs. Oh, this can't be done. Oh, markets are a scam. Oh, most people fail. Like all the negative stuff, where you have to have suspension of disbelief, speed of implementation, open mind, and a willingness to learn.
like that.
My mind is just, but
Yeah, no, I'm also trying to cycle through. Like, when was the next time I'm gonna get like a high class trader to ask me live questions? Let me just make sure I'm going through the list. What's it like managing livetraders.com? Like, what's that been like for you? Like the journey's ups and downs, and managing the losses when they happen and the wins when they happen.
I mean, every day is a challenge. I think managing or running anything is not like what people think. From the outside, it looks great. Oh, you're traveling, you're doing really well, but it's a process, right? Like it's a process. Like you constantly got, especially when you have partners, you have employees. There's always things that happen, but you just gotta like at that point kind of bring everybody together and say, okay, what's our goal? Like where are we going? Like where do we see each other from like 10 years? Are we going to be right where we are? Is that acceptable to everybody? Then, so you try to get everybody on the same page. So running anything is not easy. It's a process. And with me, I'm like always traveling. So it's like different time zones, kind of getting used to it. But that's what I'm saying. Like if you have the curiosity and if you genuinely like what you're doing, like if you genuinely like it more than money, right? So if it's just the money, it's going to be hard because when money's not there, you might want to give up. So what other motivation is there apart from money to like for you to keep going, to be, to keep pushing through all the tough parts? And you need to have that. Like you need to have like the North Star that you're kind of going towards.
And what's your North Star? What are you going towards?
My North Star right now, I mean, it changes too. That's the thing. So you figure something out and then it changes all the time because sometimes you have a North Star. You're like, if I get there, everything will be happy. My life will be great. And you get there and you're like, well, maybe that's not what I wanted, right? Maybe that's not what I wanted. Maybe I want that. So it changes. But the thing is, as humans, as long as we have like something we're working towards, that's what makes life interesting. If you have no goal, nothing to wake up for, no North Star, then life's tough, right? But as long as you have something, whatever it might be, and it's different for everybody, but whatever your thing is, you work towards that. That what's I think makes life meaningful. And maybe you get there, you want to change it, that's fine. But as long as you have something,
Dang. So one more question. Something that a lot of investors and a lot of people that trade say is that you have to diverse kind of your assets and diverse your trading. And after researching you a little bit, I saw that you were into real estate and you're into trading all these different things. Because it seems like the more responsibilities that you put as a trader, the better the trader is. How important would you say it is to diverse your time and work ethic into whether it be trading, whether it be real estate and everything else that you're doing?
Yeah, so I think diversification, like is something that you should come later on. Like at the beginning, you need to be focused. So you have to pick that first thing. So when I started trading, I was only day trading. Right now I'm doing options, swing trading, long-term investing, angel investing, but that all comes later. In the beginning, I had only one goal. What's the next trade? That was the only goal. The next trade, one trade at a time, not 5 trades at a time, one trade at a time. So first you got to be like laser focused. And as you get, obviously, let's say bucket of funds, now you're not gonna trade every day with millions of dollars. You got to park some money here and there. So that's when you start like diversifying and you think about diversification. I would say don't, like a lot of people say, don't put your eggs in one basket. Like you should put it in different baskets. I would say put it all in one basket and freaking watch that basket. Like, watch that basket.
One last question. What was the first thing you started trading? Like, what was the charts you started looking at first? That was like the thing that you mastered.
So in the beginning, I mean, first thing, obviously, I didn't know anything, right? I lost half of my money, as I told you. So beginning, I didn't know anything. Because, in the beginning, it's confusing. When you start learning, some people are saying this indicator, and the other person's using a different indicator, some using this. It's very confusing. So you got to realize that there's no one thing in market that works. There's many things that work. So you got to just figure out what works. So for me, chart patterns, technical chart patterns is what works. And we just stick to that. Price action, no indicators. Like we don't use any indicators.
Definitely thank you for coming out on the episode. Just being literally just that truth voice, because a lot of people don't get to get the little honest opinion about trading. It's very like profit kind of oriented conversation going on. Just definitely thank you for coming out and just doing it for the love of it, just because you love doing it.
No, definitely. It was good chatting with you guys.
Yeah, likewise. And to all the listeners out there, make sure you go follow him on Twitter and Instagram. Go check out the channel discussions or the panel discussions. Go get his book, Prepping for Success, the 10 Keys for Making It in Life, and start following people who are actually going to help you better your life and better your situation, and honest people. And that's what we got today. And I just want to say thank you for coming out. Thank you for being a part of the podcast. And thank you for just preaching positivity to the people that need it.
No, definitely. Good chatting with you. All the best. So this is Anmol Singh, and you were tuning in to the Love of It podcast.